Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the Piper Report. So, if you're into politics like I am, you have probably seen debates on TV. And in the debates, you have probably heard the Republican candidates say that less taxes, the government will receive more revenue. And you will probably hear the Democrats say that more taxes equals more government revenue. So, who is correct? Who is right? Well, an economics professor named Arthur Laffer developed the Laffer curve. And in it had some interesting results. So it's based on a graph, a chart here. You have the tax revenue up here, and you have your tax rate down here. So if we were to do 0% tax rate, actually we'll change colors here, make it easier. 0% tax rate, the government would not take any revenue in because no one's getting taxed. Now, if the government did 1% tax rate, they're going to be receiving 1% of that revenue. Excuse the bad drawings, I'm using paint. I don't have Photoshop or anything like that. Likewise, if they did 2%, they'd be getting this much. But then we move down here. If the federal government taxed you 100%, that means nobody's going to want to work, because who is going to want to work for free? So what that means that somewhere this is going to go up, but eventually it's going to come back down. So that top hump is the maximum amount of taxes that can be placed onto citizens before the government starts losing revenue. Now here's where the debate comes in. Where on that line is the most beneficial? Earlier in the few decades past, the common contention was that at 70% taxes, you begin to start losing revenue. Now, however, that has begun to change. According to David and Christina Romer, both economic professors at the University of Berkeley, and also Christina Romer was the chairman of Obama's Council of Economic Advisors. They found new evidence that suggests that the curve is not at 70%, but instead at 33%. Jeez, I can't fucking draw. It's hard, alright? Give me a break. 33%. So that means, we'll do another red color here. Somewhere on the taxes where the curve happens, it goes up, 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 and once it gets to 33%, it plateaus, and it starts going down. So any type of taxes past this line, past 33%, the federal government is actually losing revenue. So the debate happens now. Is 33% too low? Which one's right? And this is open for debate. But it is interesting that Christina Romer, who was, again, chairman of Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, has stated that any taxes above 33% are worthless because the federal government is actually losing revenue then. We also seen this happen with Reagan. Reagan cut taxes, yet revenue still went up. And I think it happened a couple more times in the past as well. However, you cannot cut taxes too much or else government will lose revenue. The key is finding the sweet spot there. So in essence, they are both right, both Democrats and Republicans. However, if taxes are already high, and Democrats want to say they want to raise taxes some more, it's not going to work. You will actually lose government revenue. So for instance, right now we have a 35% corporate tax rate. If Bernie Sanders did get his way and he raised up to 50 or whatever he wanted to do, we would be losing money essentially. Likewise with income tax rates. You'd probably be losing money if Bernie Sanders was in office. So I think that is really key, and this is a really interesting chart and a graph here to look at, because this is a topic that most people on the left won't argue, because they feel that they will lose their fan base if they want to say they want to cut taxes. But lowering taxes is actually a good thing, as long as it's not too low where the government loses revenue. You have to find the sweet spot. And I'm done.